let's test if this works. Okay, I think we're live. So today I want to experiment with just talking through a recent blog post and doing it live. We'll see how that works. It's January 5, 2024, and I wanted to share some of the ways that I've been using Subed Record to create a lot of intro videos which we needed for EmacsConf. So it's really nice to feel like you're saying someone's name correctly. This is hard to do because usually we ask people to introduce themselves in the first few seconds of their EmacsConf talks, but people forget to do that. So we started recording the introductions, and here's my workflow for getting those recordings into videos. First, I generate the title images using Emacs Lisp to fiddle with text in a template SVG, and that's handled by this function over here. It takes the, so this is what the SVG looks like. It's really just XML, right? So you could take this and look at the XML for it, look for something like current title as an ID of an element, and then change that to have the text that you want to put into it, and save that as different files. So that work is done by EmacsConf stream generate in between pages, and it creates images that look like this. Ta-da! So it's got the text in it, it's got a reference to the previous talk's information and the next talk's information, so people know where they are in the schedule. Once I have those title images, I can generate the introductions for each talk based on the title, the speaker names, pronunciation notes, pronouns, and the type of Q&A. So there's a general pattern that we follow. And then I end up with a file that looks kind of like this. I can copy that file and put it on my phone using SyncThing and Orgsly Revived actually these days. And then I can record the whole thing using Google Recorder on my phone, and then I can edit it to clean it up and get rid of all the oopses by using Subed Record. And I've written a blog post with those details over there. See, using Subed Record in Emacs to edit audio and clean up oopses. So each intro has a set of captions, and the comment there also specifies the input and output that it'll use. For example, this one uses hyperdrive as the output file. It gets the image from this hyperdrive SVG PNG, and it gets the audio from this file here. And then Subed Record compile audio takes all of that information and turns it into a video, which I really like. This was super helpful because that meant that if I needed to change something, I could just re-record that part of it. If I need to cancel something, I could just mark the talk as canceled and then recompile the videos with the new images. And if I needed to change the type of Q&A, then I could delete the old instructions, put in new instructions. I usually didn't even have to re-record these, and recompile the intro videos. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to keep an eye out for questions in case anyone wants to drop by and ask questions in the chat. So let's imagine that Plasma Strike said, says he wants to handle questions in Big Blue Button instead of Etherpad. So I don't remember if I've reset my system before, but let's go back to how it was with the conference. The EmacsConf stream generate in between pages is just resetting everything so that this is before I make the change. That way I can show you that the images and the video and all that stuff use the information and can be dynamically updated. It takes me about 48 seconds to generate the 47 or so intro slides. So this is on an X230 tablet, probably much faster on a modern computer. But I just love not having to edit each file individually in Inkscape or a similar editor. So as I mentioned, each file includes the information for the previous talk, the title of the talk, the speakers, the type of Q&A they're going to have, as well as the information for the upcoming talk. And the way that it does that is it just modifies the SVG and then uses Inkscape to render the SVGs as PNGs. So I have I have some more time filling to do. Oh, it's probably because my CPU is now extra busy with the FFmpeg streaming. We'll get the hang of this. In any case, thank you to the viewer who is dropping by and watching me talk about stuff. Okay, so I regenerated the thing so that it's back to the old setup. Here, for example, is the Koutline title slide. You can see here that the Q&A is listed as Etherpad, and it mentions the previous talk. And this is the intro slide for the talk after it. So so likewise, you know, in the previous section, you have the information and the Q&A type there. Now let's say that based on our scenario, we need to change the Q&A type for one person or for one talk. And that changes it in my conf.org file. And now I want to regenerate the in-between pages, the title pages. So this will take another 48 seconds or so, maybe longer because I'm streaming at the same time, so my computer is busy. But the idea there is that it's all automated based on the information in the org properties in my conference org file. At some point in the future, I'll probably write it so that I can generate just specific things, start and end, like intro slide. But since they mention each intro slide refers to the previous and the next talk, and so I just go through the whole list to make it easier to figure out what the previous and next talk is. That's why I just generate everything. So I'm having my computer make all the SVGs again and convert them into PNGs. Okay, it's done. All right. So now I think this should show me a PNG that has the live Q&A after talk. So that's been updated. And the one for the talk after that also now shows live Q&A after talk instead of Etherpad as it was previously. So the next step is then to take the information from somewhere else. So this is the section in my intros VTT file that has the instructions for what to do with his intro. And it started off with, you know, just next we have Koutline for stream without journaling. My Plasma Strike, he will answer questions via Etherpad. You'll notice the timestamps here are actually quite different because I take this from a different section of the from the audio, which is intros2.wav. But I can take this over here. Let's just add an audio source node so it knows where I'm getting the audio from. And I can drop this in here instead. Just to say that, okay, he's going to answer questions via big blue button. And then I can compile the video, you know, I can compile all the videos or I can compile the video for just this section. Again, this is going to like just work in the background and, well, not really the background because I haven't made it. I think I've got some asynchronous support in this, but just for simplicity, this compile video for this section does not use it. I've set it to process things synchronously, so I know when they're done. Anyway, so what it does is it takes the image that we have just generated, and it takes the audio from two different files. And every time it sees a caption, it takes the timestamps from those captions and gets the corresponding audio, and it concatenates all of these audio segments and adds the image to it. So then it writes the resulting video to the WebM specified by the output. what I might do then with those changes is if I make a change, I might say, okay, let's say if we need to cancel a talk, we update the talk status, and then we just regenerate all the stream images and all the intros while my computer is, just my computer will be working in the background while I go off and do something else, like wash the dishes or hang out with the kiddo or something like that. Takes a while, but at least I don't have to manually do it. Next, we have using Koutline for stream of thought journaling by Klassenscribe. He will answer questions by big blue button. You can join using the URL from the talk page or ask questions through Etherpad or IRC. So you'll notice here that the video now uses the updated image and the captions and the audio taken from somewhere else in the file. And that's how Subed Record can put all those things together into a video. The details are on my website. I think it's, oops, hang on a second. Oop. Just go back to the posts.org. So yes, all the videos are captioned, which is nice because extra accessibility. And it makes it so much easier to make lots and lots of videos from a bunch of input audio files and a whole lot of generated images, and be able to make these last minute changes. I don't really know how I'd handle this otherwise, because we made like 47 intro files, and if I wanted to update the template or do something like that, and if I was just using lots and lots of video projects in Kdenlive or something like that, it's a lot of manual fiddling. So I'm so glad that I can use Emacs for this, and yay Emacs, right? Let's see. Yeah. So how does it work? Emacs.conf generate in between pages, sets the text of the SVG. There's an Emacs.conf stream SVG text that just looks for the ID and sets the tspan appropriately. Emacs.conf pad expand intro just gives me the text to say based on what they've got in their org properties, and then I can just read through that and go through the process. So this should be up on my blog in the sashachua.com blog category EmacsConf. EmacsConf. Yes, so the blog post should be on my blog, and maybe I will be able to post a video for it. So that's all for today. BA Emacs. Oh, do people have questions? I've got the chat open for a few more minutes. All right, I think I will wrap that up there. Thank you for